And we are live once again, exclusively for our Patreon backers. This is your exclusive monthly episode for December 2020. And as much as you may have asked Santa at Christmas for a solo Rob episode, sans scarf, that's not going to happen today. It's going to be me and my good friend, Mr. Jay Bartlett. Here he is.
I am here, and I am ready to talk toys. What do you mean solo Rob?
Well, no, some people may have asked Santa, you know what, maybe I just want to hear a solo Rob show.
No, I don't think anyone ever asked that.
Solo album? Well, nobody asked Kiss to do solo albums, and they still did them.
Yeah, look what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peters.
That's your problem, Todd. You're the Peter of the Jay and Rob Toy Show.
No.
Are you Ace because it's the better solo album, or are you Paul because he's the lead character?
I'm Eric Singer.
Oh, yeah, his solo album was great. The Hawk and Dawes Jabba playset.
Out of the four original, I gotta be Gene. I'm Gene, 100%.
The worst solo album.
No, I think Aces was the best, then Paul's, then Gene's, then Peters. That's my order. What's your order? Aces was awesome, man. Or Ace was awesome.
Yeah, Ace, Paul, Gene, Peter. Yeah, that's right. You got one right. You're shooting. Hey, 2020 is ending on a high note for you, buddy. You got a question.
Hey, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. This is our New Year's exclusive show for Patreon backers.
And I want to say to all the Patreon backers, I love you guys. Thank you for the messages. Thank you for the constant support.
No, they don't get that message until the end of the show. That's what they have to wait for any kind of praise.
I couldn't wait, man. It's New Year's Eve. I'm excited. And you know what's funny? I was kind of making a joke with myself because there's no one else in my house but me. There's a common joke going around that I thought I wrote, but I didn't. And it's like, I might be late to my living room party, but I might skip the dining room party. I kind of like that. I like the idea of having theme room parties, so I might explore that.
You've always been about the themes. And now that you have your own house and collection to match the size of it, have you thought about theming your rooms?
Oh, you should see the placement. The main floor is all Star Wars. Like, it's just, you remember my old place where we used to do Gamercast? Yeah, that's nothing. You should see this. It's crazy.
So did you take them all down from your studio upstairs then and put them in the main room?
Well, there was always like a lot of Star Wars in the main room, but now it's like all the busts, all the statues, all the framed posters, all that kind of stuff. So it's looking pretty good. In my opinion?
This is an odd question for people that don't know.
Yeah.
How is your upstairs bathroom? What is going on there? Is the bell still there?
It's naked.
Everything has been
naked. Yeah, I have the bathroom downstairs is still like video game stuff, which is fine. The upstairs one, maybe I'll do like paint it black or something. Maybe stars.
We need the bell. The bell has to come back. We need to ring that bell when we do our studio shoots. When someone's in there, we got to know that they're in there. Gling! Iceberg straight ahead.
Because the door shut isn't enough.
Nope. No, we got to know if victory has been achieved in there.
Okay. Okay. I will get a bell. You can count on it. So when we shoot again, whenever that is, we can take a number 2 and ring the victory bell.
I like it. And if it's 2 rings, it was a double flush. Okay.
Whoa.
Just a reminder, if you're listening to this on the audio podcast side of things, please give us a review, leave us a rating. So, we know how you feel about the show, but it really makes the show more visible. On the video side, of course, give us that thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon so you get subscribed when we do go live. Now, unfortunately, if you're not a Patreon backer, this is where the show ends for you. So you got a little taste of it, but just for $1 a month, you get to hear the rest of what we got planned. So thanks for listening, everybody else. Patreon backers, you've already made the wise decision. You've chosen wisely. So let's get to this week's icebreaker. I don't even have anything down here. It just literally says icebreaker ? Here's one for you. What is your collecting trigger? What's something that really sets you off as of late? Good or bad?
Well, bad. We touched on it, I think, a little bit with Glenn and Jordan, and that's these exclusives. In the modern line,
Is it still hitting you? Because this has been like an ongoing thing from NECA, very specifically dating back early last year.
I think in all lines, and again, you and I collect quite a bit of different lines. We don't just do one thing. Yeah, I mean, I'm really starting to dislike it, and um, our good buddy John, GI Joe John, he's my savior because he hooked me up with the Target exclusive Joes that are now in Canada as Toys R Us exclusive Joes. He got those for me, and around the corner we have there's another. I can't remember the exclusives. It's a Cobra Viper and something else, but I'm already getting that. You know what I'm talking about. Green Day tickets are coming up for sale. Kind of feeling in my gut. It's like, oh, I don't want to have to worry about this again. So I've kind of divorced myself from all kinds of like I have to have these. It's like, you know what? If I get them, I get them. If I don't, I don't. But I'm certainly not stressing about that stuff anymore because that's really draining the fun out of collecting the modern stuff.
Yeah, in last episode we certainly talked about battling collector fatigue. How do you stay in the game? What do you do when you want to quit? How do you get out if you ultimately decide to go that route? So go back and listen to that episode if you haven't. But I agree, exclusives are a huge trigger and source of frustration when you're trying to get something. And how about like foreign exclusives, which is weird to say in Canada, but there are a lot of US retail exclusives, like you mentioned, that don't come to Canada or come to Canada 8 months later, which
Way
feels like
later.
in eternity.
Yeah.
Like, is it actually ever going to come to Canada? Do we have to wait, or do we just take the eBay exclusive plunge and do it?
Yeah, I talked about how in last episode I talked about how when I was a kid and I was a younger collector, of course, mom was buying everything, so I wanted everything. But now,
Right.
as you know, we have our own money. I don't feel the need to buy every single character in the line, especially something big like Star Wars. I don't know, man. I think if I come across it, it'll be great. For some weird reason, the NECA stuff I've got really lucky with. I can pre-order that stuff at EB at EB Games, right? So I get lucky that way. The Joe stuff, I'm not worried about. I don't know, man. It's just it's like you said. You know, you can't have it all. At some
Yeah.
point, you just got to let yourself go, and when you let that pressure go, you just have this sudden freedom and then it just becomes fun again. So that's a real big trigger this year, especially.
Well, the one way I've decided to battle my triggers is to avoid that completionist mentality, not have to get everything. And on a future episode, I want to get our good friend Carson Metaxas to talk about the completionist mentality with us and the pitfalls and the bonuses to doing it, because I think there's pros and cons when you do want to be a completionist. But for the NECA line, very specifically, the cartoon turtles, we just saw Splinter and Baxter, the 2-pack get released, and Krang's android body. We don't have an ETA in Canada when that's going to happen. Same with Rat King and Vernon. That pre-order is now up for some sites in Canada,
Yeah.
but we don't
Yeah.
know street dates. So with Splinter and Baxter, I think they're a Walmart exclusive or a Target exclusive, and same with Krang's Android Body. I just did the eBay plunge.
Oh,
Now
did you?
I ended up spending an extra $20 probably, plus shipping and whatever duties coming. But to me, knowing that they're coming and I don't have to fight and struggle and wonder, it's the pressure is off. That is not a line I'm going to go super deep. NECA has recently released a bunch of figure reveals for where that cartoon line is going. And like I said before, I think I'm pretty good with what I want to kind of carve out for that collection. So being that these two things are kind of like the last of the figures I want to get, I say that now. I'm good just holding off, especially for a 6-month wait time.
Yeah, and I think you and I with the NECA Turtles are exactly the same where we want to draw the line. I even said I wanted Trag, but even at that, I think I might. If I see him, I will probably get him, but I'm not going to actively seek him out. I don't even think I have him pre-ordered. I want Splinter and Baxter, obviously, because they're core characters, but I don't identify with the later stuff, and I'm not saying that all the other characters aren't good, but I just don't identify because I wasn't into Turtles at the time, and I didn't go back and watch all that stuff. Right, I was out of Turtles by then, so I'm certainly okay with ending it with Splinter and Baxter. Baxter looks fantastic. Oh man, he's awesome.
Yeah, the other big reveals that they had were the 4 turtles in disguise, which are
Yeah,
obviously variants, but a big part of the cartoon show. I'm good. I don't need
yeah,
that. I know disguised Donatello from the vintage line is a more rare figure, which everybody wonders why is it Donatello, since it's like disguised Raph is kind of the thing from the movie that people know. I'm gonna pass on the disguise ones, but this should come as no surprise to you. I'm a big fan of the 4 frogs, and so they've announced uh, Attila, Genghis, Napoleon, and I forget the fourth one,
yeah.
Rasputin. Rasputin. So they've announced those guys, and I want to see if they're going to release them as a 4-pack or two packs, if it's Frog and Frog, or if they're going to get paired with other things to force people to collect them all. Ace Stuck is another one that I really like, but I can hold off on Ace from the cartoon. If he gets the Super 7 Ultimate treatment, that might be a different story, but
Yeah.
the 4 frogs is kind of where I draw the line. There's more Triceratons that, again, is beyond my scope of what I remember from Turtles. Northern Men collectibles, they had Rat King and Vernon 2-pack pre-order, and Trag and Granitor 2-pack. So I've got them pre-ordered, but that site is really far behind because it's a Canadian site. So I've got lots of time to cancel if I want. Again, I'm almost done with that line, and there's a relief in that. So the trigger was easily combated this time, which I'm thankful for. I don't know how you do it as a Star Wars collector, man. I really don't, battling these triggers.
No, it's simple. I've done it my whole life. So now I just pick and choose who I want. Again, I seem to not be able to say no to Luke. Luke, every time. I'll accept that. With the Hans, the Leias, Chewbacca, 3PO, I'm good. I mean, I love those characters, but I don't feel the need to keep getting them. Even as the realism as it gets more realistic looking. I mean, it's still 3PO, right? How much more realistic can you make a droid look? I mean, he looks pretty good from 20 years ago. So, if you need to collect all that stuff, like our good buddy Peter collects every single Star Wars figure, that's rough, man. And like I said, at $30 each, $30, and even
For Black Series, yeah. Let
for
alone the
Black
Hot Toys
Series,
and stuff that he gets as
and
well.
even further to that, these deluxe ones, like
Like the
earlier,
Endor pack.
well, or no, earlier this year they had a Gamorrean guard, and I talk about this in my Jar Jar Binks review. And the package is extended a little bit on the Gamorrean guard, and he comes with 2 axes. So because of that, he was $10 more. He was 39. And Jar Jar, who I just reviewed,
I was going to ask you about Jar Jar, actually, but go on.
he's a fantastic figure. He's so accurate, and the neck is on a ball joint, and then down here, the bottom of the neck is on a ball joint, so you can really make him. I put him in all these crazy poses, like he was juggling the cups and all that. But he's $45 because he comes with a shield that he touches for 2 seconds at the end of the movie. So I gave it a thumbs down. I told everyone not to do it. You can't do $15 more for one little plastic accessory. That's robbery.
Well, and obviously check out Jay's channel on YouTube for a more in-depth review and a closer look at that figure. But I thought the sculpt alone was awesome, and it seemed like there was more accessories than most Black Series figures. They've got to justify the cost somehow. It seems strange that a figure that's not a fan favorite, that they would do a big markup on it. Like, why would they include all the accessories for a figure that's maybe not as loved as, say, some of the other ones, to at least keep the price point like the other characters, and then have an extra thing with Captain Tarples or something?
Yeah, Tarpals on the Coda or the Kodo or whatever the thing they ride. I can't remember. Sure, I can see the charge $59 for that. You have a mount and a character with all these weapons. Sure, I mean it's cool because to my knowledge, we never got Jar Jar from the end of the movie, so this is a first, I believe, with all the weapons and all that. But $15 more, I can't see. It's not even $10 more. Like Grievous was $10 more because he came with a bunch of extra stuff. But Jar Jar, a character that's 50-50 in people's eyes if they like him or not, and then $15 more price tag. I mean, I did it, so you guys don't have to. So check out the review, make up your own decision. But yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that they picked the wrong character to add the accessories to, when they could have done, like a 2-pack Tusken Raider with a bunch of stuff or something, and put the Mandalorian logo on it and then really sell it versus Jar Jar. because the figure looked like amazing from what I saw, and I think Big Bad had it for $32.99 US compared to like $22.99, so $11 or something like that.
You could do something like Farm Boy Luke and take the Hot Toys approach,
right?
Which is every single outfit that Luke had in that movie, give him that, aside from the Stormtrooper outfit. So give him the Gilligan hat, the goggles, the sniper. Give him everything that he had. Sure, 45. Okay, I get that. But yeah, I don't know. It's just getting so expensive that I don't have a choice but to cut back.
Yeah,
right?
the manufacturers and companies are making it easy to become pick and choosy, and the satisfaction of being a completist collector withers away because you don't have the funds and you don't want to put your livelihood at risk to be the completist. For what? To say that I've got more toys to have a really good, shelf life? Like literally, like you're a pro shelfer for what? You to look at 95% of the time, especially during a pandemic? Like, I get it if you need it, but the desire to be and again, I want to talk about this on a future episode, but the desire to be a completionist is fading fast, especially as they delve more and more into specific character stuff when it's not affordable, it's more fun to focus.
And I've said this for years now. I wish it was for Star Wars specifically that they would take the 2000s approach where they made every character who just walked on the screen for 2 seconds. I wish they would develop those in a Black Series as opposed to just repeating these same characters over. And they've gotten better. But yeah, like where's all the Mandalorian characters? There's like 30 or 40 new characters in that show alone that they could do.
Yeah.
I would like to see all those characters. The Frog Lady, I know everyone wants the Frog Lady. Bring her, let's go. Like,
and her husband and the container with all the eggs.
Exactly. That was such a cool story, little off story there.
Plus all the spin-offs, right? I mean, Book of Boba Fett, and you're gonna get what's her name? Is it Fennec? Like the bounty hunter that's working with Boba?
Yeah, I can't remember that character's name for some reason.
I think it's Fennec, but you're gonna have her like before she's like cyborg, and when she's like got all the metal gears inside, or maybe it'll be a plate that you can switch out. But there's lots that they can do, and I'm telling you right now, I'm getting that Bill Burr character whenever they release Mayfield.
Yeah, they will 100%. Oh, when he was just in the first season for that one episode, I wasn't too sure, but now that he's been on for season,
and I'll tell you, man, as cool as that finale was. His episode is my favorite from season 2.
Yeah, if we may dive into Bill Burr just for a second, he's a really fantastic actor. Now, most people, when they look at Bill Burr, he's typecast as acting like Bill Burr, which he does in The Mandalorian up to the point when him and Din are sitting at the table with the Imperial officer. And then you see a lot of emotion in Bill Burr's face, and he's getting tears in his eyes, talking about, how they had to execute all these innocent people. And I was just blown away, man.
Yeah.
I really felt the tension at that table, and he did such a fantastic job. Besides his smart aleck comments that he makes and his attitude, he's just a great actor. And I think that Mayfield is a really cool character.
I dreamt about that episode, man, and like watching it over again as if I was like in there watching it unfold. That's how strongly that episode hit me. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of actors, though, I wanted to switch gear. I had this weird thought as I start to unpack my collection and display it a little bit more. We talk about how many times are we going to get, Ghostbuster figures or turtle figures. And then I thought, well, how many times are we going to get figures of the same actor, basically in different role? And we've talked about, you could do like a Bond line. I think on our previous Patreon exclusive show, like why can't they do like a full-on James Bond line? All the different Bonds, all the different villains, the Bond girls, the vehicles, all that stuff. Could you do a line based on specific actors that are, prevalent in pop culture or movies that are popular? And I thought, well, Bill Murray might be an interesting actor to get different figures of. NECA seems to make figures on some obscure stuff from the movie universe. And I thought, if we're going to do Bill Murray beyond Ghostbusters.
Yeah, but I mean, you would know more than I would about this, but that's all about studio rights and things like that.
We're playing the game here. Let's pretend the rights.
So if there was no issue, you could just have it. I I mean, I would vote for Brad Pitt. That would be mine. I think.
Well, what would the figures be that you'd want for Brad Pitt?
Oh,
What's wave 1? What are the 4 figures or 5 figures from wave 1?
I'm trying to Louis from Interview with the Vampire, of course. David Mills from Seven. I love that character.
Tyler Durden.
David Lamps. Tyler Durden, of course. That's a no-brainer. And let me just. Early Grace from California. There's a wave for you right there, man.
There you go.
That'd be fantastic. What about you? So you picked Bill Murray if you could pick an actor?
Well, I was on the fence because there was a few that came to mind. Bill Murray would be great because you could do, Groundhog Day, Caddyshack. You could do Lost in Translation.
Scrooged.
You could do Scrooge. You could do Rushmore. There's Space Jam. You could do a lot of different films that he's been in that are very different from one another. Stripes, Tootsie.
Stripes, yeah. That would be good.
But then I thought, okay, Schwarzenegger would be a really interesting one to do as well, because you could have Predator, you could have Batman and Robin, you could have Running Man, you could have Total Recall, Hercules, New York.
No one wants
Conan, of course.
And obscure, like Red Sonja style, where he's basically Conan anyway. I don't even know his character's name in that, but yeah.
Well, and like Escape Plan, some of the newer stuff, the Expendables.
What was the one that we used to quote, man, when we were hanging out in the late 90s? Remember, it's like Collateral Damage. What was the line that he always said? Remember, we always said it.
Oh, we did. There was a racer. He's like, "You've been erased." And like End of Days, he had one as well. I forget what the weird catchphrase for that one. True Lies.
I wouldn't say Schwarzenegger because I feel like we've got our fill. We got a lot of Conan.
Twins.
We got Dutch from
Get Twins and Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah.
Jingle All the Way. Schwarzenegger.
I think him and Danny DeVito just did a table read of Twins.
Oh wow.
I believe they just did. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
The other one on my list was Johnny Depp, but I feel like we have a lot of Johnny Depp figures between Edward Scissorhands, Sleepy Hollow, Jack Sparrow. But I mean, Fear and Loathing Johnny Depp would be great.
Which is crazy they haven't done any of that. To my knowledge, there isn't Fear and Loathing figures. And again, that's going back to the creator of that. I can't remember who it is.
Terry Gilliam did the movie, and Hunter S. Thompson, of course, did.
Sure. But it's the same kind of thing as, again, I'm bad with names when it comes to this, the creator of Dazed, where he's not known for selling his work to a bunch of merchandise, right? Like, we've wanted Dazed figures forever, and I don't think that's ever going to happen. There's not even pop figures for Dazed.
Yeah.
So Fear and Loathing must be the same kind of... He's keeping his artistic credibility. I don't know what you want to call it.
Tom Cruise was another one that came to mind just because there's so many different films that he's done. Everything from, Risky Business and Taps and 4th of July and Rain Man to Interview with the Vampire, War of the Worlds, Mission Impossible, Legend.
Yeah.
You could certainly pick some really distinct stuff. The 4 different figures.
The Eyes Wide Shut exclusive mail away.
Oh my goodness!
It comes in a paper bag.
Oh, with the mask and the robe
and the nude.
That was your request.
Actually, he doesn't get naked in the back.
Yeah, he does. He doesn't. The ones he wore, with Kidman's like looking in the mirror. Nicole Kidman.
Damn, that's hot.
Gonna switch gears once again as we go through our basically list of questions that we set out throughout the month. And that's why I love these Patreon episodes, because it collects everything that we didn't get to for the main shows that we do every Monday night at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. A broad question, Jay. Does it feel good to spend cash on toys?
No, not. I wouldn't say it feels good. If you have a lump of cash in your wallet and it's getting smaller, I've always hated that feeling. It's a lot easier to put it on a card. Debit, right? I mean, I wouldn't say it feels good. I think it feels good to acquire a piece you've been looking for, but sometimes, do you ever get guilt? Do you ever feel guilt, like you're spending too much?
Every single purchase.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far for myself, but definitely after a while, like if you're doing multiple purchases, not one big purchase in a week, but if you're doing multiple purchases in a week, you're like, like near the end of the week, it's like, should I be buying this one? I just bought like 3 of these the other day. Yeah,
I feel it with every purchase, and the actual acquisition erases some of it, but I'm not good with treating myself well in that regards. I like to put things forward for like movies and stuff that we try to do, or more experiences, which is probably why it's been easy for me to sell my collection time and time again to fund these other things. I like the game of collecting. I like the hunt. I like the thrill of it. Same thing like sports cards back in the day. I loved buying packs, opening them, or hero clicks, playing with those and opening those boxes. Did
I was actually me and Darren were talking last night about that. That's hilarious. Talking about clicks. But anyway. Hero clicks, for anyone who doesn't know, is overpower card game. No, it's similar to Warhammer, where it's you have all the stats of your character on the dial.
On the figure base.
On the base, yeah. And you roll to do all your moves and stuff like that. It was super fun, man, but that got out of control real fast, man. Real fast.
Yeah, you went to eBay real quick to get some figures. So
yeah,
and you want to talk about regrets.
Yeah, you build a team, right? So you have like most games were 500 points, and each character had a point value of what they would cost. So you would spend money, and then you would create an army. I spent days and hours thinking of characters with these powers and what kind of team I wanted to build. And there was a few characters that were, because I'm the hipster collector, right? There's a few characters that were really difficult to get, like Nightcrawler and I think it was the Atom.
Yep.
So I got those in my collection, and spent a lot of money on eBay. And then what do you know? We go to Heroes, and Rob opens a blind box, and he gets the same one for $10, and mine was like $100 or whatever.
Nightcrawler, yeah.
Yeah. But what did we talk? We just went on a rant. I don't even know what we're talking about.
Well, about spending cash and what it's like. Does it feel good? Do you ever have guilt and stuff like that?
I have lots of guilt. I have so much guilt. I'm tired of feeling guilty. But yeah. So I try and limit it to once a week as kind of a treat. I really do. Of course, pandemic times make it a lot easier because I like to do my stuff in person. So I haven't been out nearly as much as I usually would. So it makes it a bit easier. Yeah, the eBay bill too racks up real quick. I was doing a lot of eBay in the summer, and it's so easy. Oh, it's only $10 plus shipping, plus duty, blah blah blah. Yeah,
dude, I'm stressing out thinking about the summer spending to just pack the episodes filled with the toys that we need. It's always exciting when you interview somebody for Action Figure Adventure, and they're like, so blah blah blah, and I'm like, well, now I need to go get blah 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 because they mentioned it, and I need the cutaway to help illustrate their point, or it's just not going to be good. Like Jordan cost me a fortune talking about superpowers ad nauseum and very specific ones, and then Toy Biz superheroes, and I'm like, do I really have to spend $30 on a Lex Luthor figure that punches itself in the face? Thanks, Jordan.
The answer is yes.
Apparently I do.
The answer is yes. Yeah, well, I mean, it's all worth it because the series has been getting some really great positive feedback. So all our hard work is paying off, I believe. Yeah.
Let's move to the main topic of our backer exclusive episode. And that was an assignment for you to select 5 fun figures you love this year. And outside of your top 10, because on your YouTube channel, you did your kind of top 10 of 2020 figures that you acquired throughout the year. And I said, let's just pick 5 fun figures that we've acquired, not a top 10 or anything like that. And the figures I picked, we haven't talked about on any shows so far.
Okay, so the way I understood...
here we go.
The way I understood it was figures that were from the year 2020. Is that wrong?
Yes.
Okay, so all mine are from 2020. They're all great anyway, so it doesn't matter. The list I did was figures that were just released in 2020. So the 5 I have here, I guess, are honorable mentions where if I could have made the top 15, these guys would have been in it. So
cool.
Either way, they're all cool. So.
And I picked 5 figures that I had acquired in 2020 that we had yet to talk about on the show.
Sure. Well, then yours is going to be way more fun. So.
You're usually disappointed with the toys that I like and acquire. So
all those Dick Tracy's made me piss myself, man. The way you wiggled them. Those are so bad. Why did
Jay's talking about the action figure spotlight from the previous episode with Jordan and Glenn guesting.
Check it out, guys. It made me laugh so hard. They're so bad.
No, they're actually really good. They're just
No, they're not.
well, I don't have any Migos or anything Migo like, and
Yeah,
these
yeah.
came up. I regret buying them, but they're not bad. I just don't know what to do.
I regret them, but they're okay.
I mean, it's okay that something you regret something. It doesn't make it a bad figure.
Okay, so Rob's are 5 figures he's bought this year.
Yeah.
Mine are 5 figures I bought this year, but mine are
year.
different because they're released from 2020. So that's the difference.
Okay. Are you going to go first or am I going to go first?
I think we're going to have one that's the same.
Hmm?
I think you and I have one that's probably the same. I can go first. We'll make it real simple, real easy.
I'm looking down here at my pile. Okay, so you go first.
Speaking of
number 5.
Number 5, speaking of exclusives that irritated me, Hasbro's very first stream where they announced the revival of G.I. Joe popped up the Amazon.com link at the end of the stream for this guy here.
Arctic Storm Shadow?
I like to call it, yes, Arctic Mission Storm Shadow.
Right.
Dumb name, which I like to call Hipster Storm Shadow because we all want version 1, the Americanized Ninja Storm Shadow, but instead we got the version 3 of the Real American Hero, which I don't mind.
It looks cool.
I was a lot more excited for him when they announced it. He's pretty cool. Again, he's an Amazon exclusive. I just happened to, I'll tell you guys right now, this figure cost me about $85 because I went on Amazon.com by mistake. But I did get my pre-order in, so of course I'm Canadian, so I had to pay the exchange and then duty and shipping. From what I understand, he's still pretty tough to get, so I'm glad I got him. But number 5, Arctic. Jesus, I'm bad at this. Arctic Mission Storm Shadow. There you go.
Awesome. Let me go solo here for you so you can show him off just one last time.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
There you go.
So he's very cool. He's got a boatload of accessories. They're not all represented here. This is just what he can carry. He can carry most of them, which I'm a big fan of too. So, yeah, there you go.
Cool. My number 5 is actually probably a figure that's going to surprise you, Jay. And it's a Thundercats figure that I got. But of course, it's not the Thundercats that most people know and like. This is from the 2011 cartoon, and it's the 4-inch line. When He-Man came out in 2002, they did a straight line of 6-inch figures and whatnot. But when Thundercats came out in 2011, they had 2 different lines. They had a 6-inch line with some characters and a 4-inch line with a lot more characters and a playset and a few other vehicles. On the back there, you can see the Thunder Tank and the Tower of Omens playset, which comes with the translucent version of Tigra. I've always liked Tigra better than Lino. I have the Lino version as well, but because I had the translucent version of Tigra open because it was in the playset, I just kept it. So I thought I'd keep this one carded for now.
Who makes that? I can't see.
It's made by Bandai.
Oh yeah, okay.
And so it's 4+. It's superpowers type articulation. Fun, good, a couple accessories. Nothing to it really, but I for the first time was actually fascinated by it, and I really liked that version of the cartoon show as well. So the series was a good excuse to pick up some of those figures. I think I got 6 figures for under $30 Canadian. That stuff is really cheap to find because it didn't go over super well and they mass produced it. My number 5.
A really smart decision, in my opinion, on Bandai's part to make it 4-inch because you can see that they wanted to do the Thunder Tank and Cat Slayer and all that stuff. So that's really cool. As much as I rave about the Super 7 ones, yeah, you're never going to see a Cat Slayer. Oh, you might with Super 7, who knows? But that thing's going to be $800-900, right?
Or Mummer's Lair or something like that. At least a cool backdrop would be awesome.
Yeah, or even like Castle Plundar or something, which they never did. That would be pretty sweet as well. Yeah, those are cool. I still have yet to see the reboot.
You got to get it, man. It is so good.
Yeah, actually,
so good.
Again, prepping for our shoot for season 1, I went through pretty much every cartoon series from front to back, and I liked Thundercats as a kid, but rewatching it as an adult, the whole thing, I was really, really impressed. Like, I really, really liked that show and all the characters.
You say you have it on DVD?
Yeah, the original.
Maybe I'll borrow it from you.
It's good,
and
man.
I'll take it for a whirl. I don't know if maybe the episodes are all on YouTube. Maybe I'll see how far I get on YouTube with the original Thundercats.
Yeah.
Just to save the hassle of going across town and whatnot. But I'll give it a go again. The next episode, I want to talk about toy resolutions for 2021.
Sure.
Checking out Thundercats cartoon will be on my list. So there's a sneak peek, I think. What's your number 4?
Okay, let's continue. Which one should I go with next? Okay, well, I'm pretty sure this guy's probably on your list. This is one that we actually shot at my house for a bunch of the I don't know what do you call it? We're just showcasing. You know, people are talking about certain decades,
Cutaways,
and we pan across and show figures from like 1980 to 1989. I mean, that was such a fun 3-day shoot that we did at my house here. And you introduced me to this friggin' character that I absolutely fell in love with.
Rebel Leader.
So this is Rebel Leader He-Man from the Masters of the Universe film from 1987. This is my absolute favorite version of He-Man. I know I'm going to get probably a lot of hate mail for that.
That's a great figure.
I just love Dolph Lundgren as He-Man. I love how serious he is. I mean, he does cracks a couple of jokes here and there, but I love the way he looks. It's like, you know, post-apocalyptic He-Man. I love it. And the thing that sold me was, I'm so bad with his mirror, was the blaster here. I remember when you showed me him and you could put the blaster in his hand. I'm like, yep. It's the Bespin Luke thing, right? I like the sword and the blaster at the same time. I think it's really cool. And he comes with the dagger. And he's just so chunky and big.
He's so big in the package, you can't see his head.
And he comes with a cartoon-ish version. You can swap the head out. And then he comes with the Dolph Lundgren head too with the 5 o'clock shadow. And I love this figure, man. And I have the Skeletor as well, just the regular Skeletor.
Right.
That's number 4. And yeah, I had to open him because he's so awesome.
It's funny that you opened some classics. That's funny to me.
I did because they were regular price. They weren't. I mean, I can say it if you want. I spent $1,000 on Adora.
Yeah, you mentioned Adora Swiftwind and She-Ra.
Adora Swiftwind and She-Ra, and a lot on eBay, and it was about $1,000. And for some reason, because of that, I can't open them. But I've seen, another fellow guy in the toy community, Michael Mercy, did a She-Ra and Swiftwind Classics review, and Swiftwind spread out is just so gorgeous looking, and She-Ra on top of it. It's tough, man. It's tough to keep because Swiftwind is so like tight in the box, right? The wings aren't out or anything. You just want to set
it up, and it'd be a cool kind of statue display piece.
I'm getting closer to opening it. The more you abuse me about opening it, the closer I get to opening it. So.
Well, I think for season 2 for Action Figure Adventure, you can go on the hunt for some loose ones, and if by the end of filming season 2, if you haven't found them loose, you gotta
open them up. Yeah,
it's a good deal. All right, my number 4 is a smaller figure. Now, this was a line that I didn't know much about, but I knew I had to get figures because, once again, somebody mentioned them in the interviews, and so I thought, okay, well, I'm going to get these for the sake of talking about scale, and these are the Mega Construx He-Man figures. In particular, I liked Faker. So these are about an inch and a bit high, 2 inches maybe, 1.5 inches, 2 inches. But Faker in particular obviously always blends Skeletor and He-Man well, and the detail and articulation on them is just fantastic. You got shoulders, you got elbows, you got wrists, you got everything. Swords, and they come with these little stands that are labeled as well. And this figure in particular was the coolest of them all, I think. He's even got, the little sticker chest plate there underneath the skull crossbones. If I would have had a Prince Adam one, it probably would have been Prince Adam, but the fact that you get the axe and the sword for Faker kind of took it up another notch. So number 4, again, a line I wasn't going to get into, but pleasantly surprised by the amount of articulation. It's such a small figure. It's so cool.
The shining star of that line is definitely Castle Grayskull, and that made me really I haven't purchased any myself, but I've thought about it definitely. But knowing that you can get Grayskull and all the vehicles and that kind of thing at a really
Grayskull's $300 US.
I was gonna say it's more affordable, but my point is, I guess you're gonna have vehicles because of the scale.
Yeah, you got the
And
Wind Raider out there, and that came with He-Man and Skeletor, and now the
yeah,
Roton, Battle Cat, Panther.
yeah, that's great, man. And it's like they're a weird cross between Lego and I don't know what
It's
else.
like an articulated Lego, like a
Yeah,
really articulated Lego. I don't
and
like
with
Grayskull.
details too.
I think Grayskull really looks like a Lego castle. It's not
Yeah.
smooth. It's all chunky and jaggy, and apparently it's a pain to put together. And if it was
Oh,
just out of the box, with like 6 pieces to snap together, I'd be into it. I got the Wind Raider, and there was like 50 pieces to it, and they're super small. I'm like, I don't have time to sit here and do this. As cool as it might be, I just I'm good. I'm good.
half the fun of that stuff, like when I put together the Lego Millennium Falcon, half or more than half the fun of that is just the act of doing it. It's supposed to be very therapeutic, and I found it was very calming. I wasn't in a rush to get the Falcon built. I did it in a couple of days, but it was just cool to do that. So hey, some people like doing it, some people don't. Right?
I just don't have the time to do it. I'm
Yeah.
way too frustrated with the lack of time that I have to do anything nowadays. So putting together toys, no, I can take it out of the package, put it on the shelf, play with it, pose with it, appreciate it. 5 minutes later, I'm good. That's my investment. What's your number 3, Jay?
Number 3 is a character that none of us really saw coming over the last few years, and it was a character that just goes to show when you have an actual an actual Star Wars fan behind the helm what great writing actually looks like. This is a character who has no expression on his face, and yet we've all fallen in love with him. So his sniper rifle keeps coming off. But this is Din from the end of season 1. Whoa, God, yeah. So his sniper rifle keeps coming off, so we'll just take that off.
Black Series Beskar?
Yep, so he's got all his Beskar on, the clan symbol on the shoulder, and everything. Not a perfect figure. The Beskar doesn't shine quite as well as I would like it to, but this is a pretty screen accurate version, and he comes with all the bells and whistles. Very cool. And any Mandalorian figure where it's Din himself is always very difficult to find. I was just at the right place at the right time with this guy. So there's another one coming out where it's the same figure, but it's packed with Grogu. I think it's just a repack, but everyone's losing their minds over that because Grogu comes with the cradle.
Right.
Right. So that's like the new piece. There you go. The sniper rifle goes on the back like that. Just like that. Yeah. And it's really cool to go through Din's journey and to think about it from a toy perspective because, sniper rifle gets destroyed and then he gets the Beskar spear and now he has the dark saber. So there's just going to be, he's going to be like Luke and Han, right? There's going to be Din figures and then there's going to be one with the helmet coming off. So you got to get yourself one of those, buddies. I know.
I've got it pre-ordered. I think it's already in my pile of loot on Big Bad Toy Store. Both the original version with his regular armor and the Beskar armor. I don't even want to look at my pile of loot. I can't quite pay for shipping just yet, and then the import charges. So I'm waiting a little bit longer until I have to pull the trigger and get it shipped. So
yeah, Big Bad's great. Anyone who doesn't know what Big Bad Toy Store is, check it out, guys. You will not be disappointed. It's literally the toy store of your dreams. So
yes, very cool company indeed. Has made it easy to keep up with most of the stuff that comes out new. My number 3 figure is, again, something that I discovered because of the series. For a segment we didn't get to film, but we will likely film for season 2. This is a Wave 2 figure, and it wasn't until recently that I discovered how difficult she is to find because the line is, some people say, terrible. I know you're not a fan of it, but this is a Captain Power figure. And in particular, this is Corporal Pilot Chase. So I was able to get her on card, and it's not some of the cards have foil across Captain Power at the top, and some do not. But Corporal Pilot Chase, again, the one accessory, that figure is so bad though. It is look at those elbow joints.
They're all bad. All the Captain Power figures are
this
bad.
one is particularly bad.
Yeah, look at those elbows. That looks like the Dagobah Luke that they released a few years ago.
That looks like Lego pieces have been smashed together to form arms. The stance is not good.
Yeah.
Like even that package art is like hollow. Like there's nothing there to it.
There's no surprise why that toy line failed because the show was fantastic. But I mean, the ships were great. I never liked the figures. I don't mind Sauron and Blaster; they're okay. But the human-looking figures, I couldn't take.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. I've never seen her before. Obviously, she was either really rare or we just didn't find her when we were kids.
Well, I mean, it's a two-part thing. One, it's Wave 2.
Oh,
so, and we know that it was basically canceled in Wave 2. And it's the only female figure of the line, which means it got shipped a lot less than all the other figures because, you know, retailers still feel that boys won't buy the girl figures because they don't want it to be seen as a doll and such. At least that was, you know, the mindset back then. 1 Tila, 1 Evelyn per case. That's it. 6 He-Mans.
Yeah, but you look at what Hasbro was doing with Joe. There were so many females in Joe, and they all did amazing. Every one of them.
I don't know why. You know, Leia's done always well too.
They even put, you know, CoverGirl with the Wolverine, and she's so hard to get, right? But that vehicle sold well. Lady J, Scarlet, they all did. Baroness is amazing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well.
But it's just the effort to make them actual characters that are cool instead of just, you know, here's the token girl character we have to have on the team and not give her anything cool to do. Like,
you know what's hilarious is now
didn't you say that about the M.A.S.K character?
Gloria Baker, they made eventually in the racing line, but they didn't make her in the first line, and she's in like 30 of the episodes with her Porsche. Yeah. I can't remember the name now; it escapes me, but I remember her. And they never made her, but they made Vanessa Warfield, who was the Venom, like the Baroness of the Venom team, right?
Right.
I don't know, no rhyme or reason.
No. What's your number 2, Jay?
Number 2. Okay, I'm gonna go with this one. So this is made by a toy company called Zika. There's a little bit of a
I know what this is.
A little bit of a smaller company, man, but they brought back, and they're still bringing back.
I was gonna say, did you support the second wave that was announced?
I have not yet. I haven't decided. So let me just show it. So it's Dargon from Sectars, and it's a line that I've always loved. Get the glare off. So Sectars is a very obscure line from Coleco from 1986, and it's scientists and insects combined together to make almost superhero He-Man kind of a crossover. They're very, very cool, and they brought them back. These are normally 5.5 inch, but they brought them at a 3.75 inch scale.
No, they're much bigger than 5.5. They're like 8.
Yeah, I think they're 7 actually, right? They're 7.
They're weird.
And so we flip them over here and we see all the characters in the line. And they brought 2 new characters out, which were the 2 guards here, these 2 guys. So the only reason why I haven't got more of these, right, and you can probably guess why, is because the big part of Sectars was the insect mounts and the insect companions, and we have yet to see any of those. So I think that's a little bit strange, and this is also a reason why Dargon didn't make my top 10 list. So I love the figure, but I don't think I'm going to collect anymore until they bring the mounts out. That's like bringing He-Man out without Battlecat.
And frankly,
doesn't make sense, right?
That packaging is really awesome. It's colorful. It's like corner to corner artwork. Yeah. And if you just have the figure like loose in your stand, did you get Spydrex as well?
I just got Dargon. They're very expensive.
Yeah, 30 plus.
Again, I got it on Big Bad. I didn't support the Kickstarter. I didn't know about it, to be honest. And so I got it at Big Bad. And very expensive. And I'm impressed. I think they're decent looking. But I have the complete original line. They're not tough. There's only 9 figures in the line.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna wait. If they bring the mounts out, I'll reconsider.
It's a niche line, I think, for the fans of it. You know, it's a cool opportunity to get the new version of it. I like the scale that it's at. I would have been cool if it was bigger, but I like that it's a 3 3/4 scale. I think the mounts would be great if they could ever get to that point. I think we're going to be lucky, you know, by the time the second wave comes and call it a day with where it's going. I know they have some plans for the line as well and what they want to do. I think there's some comic book stuff that's in the works and maybe some sort of new show. I don't know, but it's so niche that it's hard to
It's
see the support for it.
it's one of the smallest running cartoons of the 80s. There's only 6 episodes of Sectars, which you can find all 6 on YouTube right now. The comic book only had 8 issues. It's so small. But I mean, Frank Welker, Peter Cullen, all the
All the
voice
same
actors.
GI
It's all the
Joe
same
Transformers guys.
Yeah,
Yes, it didn't Sumbo do it as well?
yeah, and it's really
Yeah.
good, and it's surprisingly dark. It's a really dark miniseries. The 6 episodes. It's really good.
Well, it would have gone on. So here's a little bit of video game box art trivia for you. My series that I got to do on video game cover art, because you had mentioned it's by Coleco, which is best known as the ColecoVision, probably.
Yeah.
They were about to do a ColecoVision game on Sectars. It would have been their
Yeah.
first IP because 99% of ColecoVision games were arcade ports, except for Smurfs and a few other ones. But Sectars was going to be their first big one, but the company went bankrupt before they could push Sectars further and ColecoVision and everything else. So
Zika's
it didn't happen.
really corrected the mistakes that Coleco made in the 80s, where they shrunk down the figures, like you said, so the 3.75, which is good, because if you look at a box Dargon with the mounts, it takes up a lot of real estate on a shelf. Like, it's literally probably this big. It's this huge, because the wings are expanded on the mount, and it's got this gorgeous front window. The Dragonfly. It's got this gorgeous front window, but imagine like 4 of those on a shelf. That's all you're going to fit is 4 of those, right? You can't put them deep because they're, So unfortunately, it didn't do well. Didn't do well as it should have, and that was it. But let's see what Zika does. I have faith, so we'll see.
So my number 2. I don't know if I even told you that I got this, but I got this probably in July, maybe August of this year. This is a 2002 He-Man that's quite unique, and that it was one of the very first ones that was available as part of Comic-Con. So it's a Comic-Con exclusive version. You can see the burst there on the logo. Try to do it this way so you can see a bit better, and you can see that the shield actually has like the chrome finish on it as well, and the sword is gold instead of silver.
Wow.
They'd already changed the emblem on He-Man to the star there instead of the cross on the first release, because people thought it was an Iron Cross reference, so they just made it a star. You can see the original He-Man cross on that side on the reverse, but
awesome.
They only did 1,000 of these.
Wow.
So this is number 996 of 1,000. And for people that collect 2002, this is definitely like a staple must-have. You got to get one of these to be a part of it. I've seen stuff that's in worse condition. This was only a couple $100 that I got, and I got it from my good friend Josh, who's had a bunch of claim sales that I've featured some other figures that I've got off him on the show before. But I couldn't pass that up. Then I like that the number is high. It's 996 of 1,000. It's pretty cool. Again, one of those must-have pieces from the 2002 line. On launch week, they had ones that were signed by all the 4 Horsemen, and they had special launch week plaques that Motu Joe has that are just as crazy and just as cool. So that's in the same kind of territory.
That's awesome, and we're both big fans of that show. That show is just awesome, man. When all this stuff was coming out again in the early 2000s, I remember rushed home to watch that, man, and it did not disappoint. It was just nice for me. The one knock I've always had on Masters of the Universe is that they don't really fight, right? So to see like He-Man and Skeletor actually battle and sword to sword was really awesome, and the fights went on long. It was cool. I love that show.
Yeah, I remember you had Satellite at the time, and you taped the pilot, which is 3 episodes called The Beginning, off Cartoon Episode, and we watched it after work. The couple cold ones. We were both going, "Oh man, this is wicked! They actually nailed it. It's perfect." Yeah. And alas, they kept changing the time around, and it got canceled eventually.
That's too bad. Yeah, I mean, again, it's tough too when you start messing with something that is beloved, right? Like everyone grew up with the Filmation one, so I know that there was a lot of people who didn't take to the new animation style, which is very anime. But I liked it, man. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I think it's the best iteration of Masters of the Universe so far. All right. Number 1, Jay. What is your number 1 fun figure from 2020 outside your top 10?
Well, this one's not so fun. I don't think he's so fun. He's very scary. Anyone who knows me knows how much I rave about this film, and precisely 4 people have seen it. So this is one of the main baddies from a Disney movie called The Black Hole. They brought out, so this is from Diamond Select. They brought out 3 figures in the line. This is Maximilian. So he is, think of him like the Frankenstein monster of the mad scientist, and he's just basically a murder machine. He's absolutely terrifying in the film. They brought out Old Bob and Vincent as well in the line, so there's 3 of them. These 3 figures are notoriously difficult to find, and I have to thank my buddy Will, who found this for me at Heroes. We both went there before the pandemic, and I didn't see them. They were on, the upper floor of Heroes, the Diamond Select were. They were on the very bottom, under the Ghostbusters. I didn't even see them, and Will's like, "Hey, aren't you looking for those guys?" And yeah, so Maximilian here is about 8 or 9 inches tall. You can see up close. What's really cool, if you're familiar with the way the film ends, it's got a very artistic, kind of artsy ending that's open for interpretation. And Reinhardt, his head is actually inside Maximilian, so you can swap out the heads, and you can actually see Reinhardt's eyes, and it's very freaky. I won't put that head on because it just creeps me right out. But there he is. That's my number 1, and he almost made the top 10, but Vincent just squeaked in there ahead of him. So there you go.
Cool. Very cool. Diamond Select, like NECA, will take a chance on some obscure properties that have a following.
Absolutely.
My number 1 figure goes back to Masters of the Universe. Again, this is my number 1 fun figure. Maybe my all-time favorite Masters of the Universe figure.
King Randor.
Of all time. I got a chance to play with it at the same time that you got a chance to play with Rebel Leader He-Man, and I had not taken it out of the package till then, but this is movie Skeletor, Dark Despot, as they call him, and this figure is just the most badass version of Skeletor that they've ever released, that they've ever sculpted. It has a weight to it. It has all the accessories. The sword is perfect. The look is fantastic. The design and sculpt, phenomenal. Again, just the look of fear and dread on this character. It's just so imposing. The cloak is fantastic. This is the version of Skeletor we always wanted. I'm surprised we never got like an original vintage line movie Skeletor that at least emulated this approach. But this is just incredible. The Havoc staff is gorgeous, and it was a toss up between God Skeletor with all the gold deck and this, but this is probably my favorite Masters Universe figure of all time. And to discover it this year when we were doing Action Figure Adventure is just it's been awesome. So I love this figure. I'm so glad I opened it, and this was a figure that I did the rule of 2 for. So
there you go. There's the 2 boys right there. Yeah, how fitting is that these are 2 favorite versions of these characters? I don't know. It might have a lot to do with nostalgia, and we grew up with it, but that came out around the same time Transformers and G.I. Joe the movie came out, and I didn't look at Masters of the Universe the movie through the eyes of a film critic. I looked at it through the eyes of a He-Man fan and a kid, and I thought it was cool, man. It was different, and I really liked the take on it.
Yeah, I agree. And I still think part of it stands up. Yeah, part of it's hokey and, feels like a 1980s post-apocalyptic, movie on a budget. But some of it still feels very much Masters of the Universe. And there are parts where I'm like, yeah, I'm completely hooked and I'm along for the ride. So kudos to that film and standing the test of time.
And that's 2 figures that we both purchased that are the same. I have the Skeletor as well. And I couldn't. As soon as we saw them, we opened them up and played with them. We were like, okay, this is amazing. And I've always liked the way Skeletor looks. Frank Langella, that's the name, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, Langella.
Frank Langella. I like how he's not. It's like this mix between organic and bone.
Yeah.
Where Skeletor that we know, everyone knows, he's just a skull. I liked the way Skeletor looked in that, and you could see a lot of human features, and it made him way more scary to me.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
Yeah.
That does it for our 5 fun figures of 2020. Again, Jay has put out a video on his YouTube channel that details his top 10 figures from 2020 that he's acquired from all eras. So go check out what his top 20 or his top 10 of 2020 were. These were our top 5 fun figures. I'm looking forward to what we might get in 2021, especially if the world changes and travel becomes better and we can go for Action Figure Adventure Season 2. But Jay, I want to give you a chance to finally thank our backers on Patreon. I wasn't going to allow you to do it earlier. I cut you off. They hadn't earned it yet. They have to get to the end of the show to hear the thanks.
Yeah, I mean, daily, the both of us get messages from people and about Action Figure Adventure and still about Nintendo Quest and the Power Tour, Power of Grayskull, box art, all these things that we've been a part of. And we're just so grateful, guys, because obviously without you, there's nobody to entertain. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts for help supporting what we do and believing in what we do. So yeah, each and every one of you guys, thank you.
Yeah, and I echo Jay's comments. Basically, this show that we're doing now, the Jay and Rob Toy Show, wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for your support. We wouldn't be doing it as frequently. We wouldn't take the time to do these extra episodes for you. The fact that you want to support us and where we want to go with the show, not just additional podcast episodes, but we want to do like full-on episodes, like our own kind of Action Figure Adventure for Patreon backers, and really build a community and do more documentaries that would normally take a lot of approval and a lot of time and a lot of headaches and a lot of pitching and waiting and gatekeepers. We can do so much more, and it starts with all of you guys who have come in on the ground floor to say, yeah, we believe in you guys. We want to help you get there. A few bucks per person goes a long way. And I love all the engagement we've had so far. It's been really fantastic. So thank you again for another awesome month of your support. The show has been fun. We hope you've liked the guests that we've had so far. We're definitely going to continue to have guests going forward, and we're definitely going to have many more scarves. This was a scarves off episode. But
well, no.
Oh, I couldn't see. I couldn't see that. It didn't look like a scarf.
No, don't bring me into that.
No, it looks like it's hard to tell from your lighting if that's a scarf.
No, it is a scarf. It's not. You guys put on like you guys put on winter scarves. It's
no.
The fashion
those are power scarves.
Power scarves. Okay, fine.
So, anyways, we hope you've enjoyed this exclusive December 2020 Patreon backer show. We will see you at our regular scheduled time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when we go live on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks again, everybody. Have a good new year, and we'll see you in 2021.